Hi, writers. Welcome to the Writing Lab with Eva Pohler. I'm Eva Pohler, a USA Today bestselling author of over 45 novels. I'm also an educator, a university writing professor for over 3 decades, and an editor. And today we're tackling one of the great debates of the writing world. Are you a plotter or a pantser? And is it possible that the best approach is both? So let's get started with the basics. Plotters are writers that outline their stories before even drafting. They like to know what happens, they like to know when it happens, and how it ends. And before they ever write chapter 1, they've got that roadmap all lined out for them. Pantsers, on the other hand, they like to fly by the seat of their pants, and they dive in with only a spark of an idea and discover the story as they write it, which can be an exciting process, I must admit. However, both approaches, although they work, each has its challenges. Plotters can sometimes feel boxed in and lose momentum. It's not quite as fun if you already know everything that's going to happen before it does. On the other hand, pantsers can get lost or need major rewrites. They often don't finish books. So I like to use a blend. And this is why. After writing more than 45 novels, I've learned that the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle. A roadmap gives you direction so you don't get lost, and having a little flexibility, leaving room for surprise, that's the spice that makes writing fun. So I always start with a loose structure, not a rigid outline, but a map that I can change if inspiration strikes. And I wanted to show you here on the screen Freytag's Pyramid. This is an old structure that's been used to describe stories since the ancient world. Let's look at it. It's something that helps break down the structure of a story. So exposition introduces the characters into the world, and then soon, not late, soon comes this inciting event, this introduction of a conflict that changes the character's world, shakes things up, and that's followed by rising action. That rising action will lead to a climax that then it's like the final showdown where, the villain is overcome or the antagonist is defeated and or not. And then you have the falling action and the final resolution. It's a great reference, especially for new writers, to see how stories naturally build tension and resolve it. Now, I use a 3-act structure that's loosely based on Freytag's Pyramid. I create 3 acts, okay? In the first one, the world is shaken. So I show the protagonist in their normal world, and then boom, an inciting event disrupts everything. And I usually take about 20,000 words for this first, sometimes 30. You'll find out what works for you. But if you can think in terms of how many words it takes, your pacing will be better. So I take about 20,000 words to get that inciting event, to introduce the character to the world, get that inciting event going, and then things start unraveling, things start going wrong, and trying to figure out what's going wrong. Why is this going wrong? What's happening to me? What am I going to do? Am I going to face up to this? Am I going to just run away from it? How am I going to react to this change? And do I have people that I can go to? And, it's a questioning and a puzzling kind of time, right? Then I move on to my second act, which is the rising tension. This is where the character finally faces that they've got to deal with this inciting event that's occurred, and now they're trying to work through the challenges of this inciting event. And there will be some successes and some setbacks, but so it'll be kind of like a stair step as you rise in that rising action. There'll be moments of victory, moments of defeat. A struggle is ensuing as it's building to this highest moment of tension that we call the climax. And that's another 20,000 words usually for me, or possibly 30. You'll see what works for you. And then the final act is where we get the climax and resolution. So we have that final showdown, that final moment. And sometimes there can be false showdowns along the way, like they think that this is it, they think that they're going to succeed, and it ends up being a failure. And that is another rising moment as they're building to this ultimate climax where they finally have their victory or defeat, right? And then there's going to take another 20,000 words to just completely show the build to that final moment, then show the final moment, and then the repercussions of that final moment. And then, of course, any threads that have not been tied, you really need to leave your reader with a satisfactory ending. And this usually takes another 20,000 to 30,000 words for me. So that's my three act structure, but there's lots of room in there for pantsing. Lots of room in there for ideas to spark and take me on adventures that I didn't foresee. So I think it's the most fun and effective way to plot your novel is to come up with this roadmap that's very broad and identify your protagonist, your conflict, maybe even know what the final showdown is going to be or have some sense of it. You don't have to. Have some idea of how you might want it to resolve. But then everything else, you're filling in the blanks. So a flexible structure like this is letting you focus on the fun parts of writing, like discovering what your characters really want or how they'll surprise you. But yet it still has a structure so that you have some kind of map going ahead. Think of it like jazz. You have structure, but you can improvise as you go. So just to recap, plotting gives you momentum, pantsing gives you inspiration, blending both gives you flow, freedom, and structure. And so that's it. If you want help with your novel, be sure to download my free guide, The Science of Story. It's linked below this video. And if you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and maybe leave a comment and let me know. Are you a plotter, a pantser, or like me, are you both? Thanks for watching The Writing Lab with Eva Pohler. Keep writing, and I'll see you next time. Bye.